Yeah, I mean, things have been rough for the last couple of years. That's what happened to Anna. But I finally feel like I'm starting to heal after all those years of family therapy and everyone coming together. I think I'm actually starting to feel a lot better about what happened, and I'm starting to finally heal and come to terms with it. And I finally, accept the tragedy that happened to Anna, and I think I'm ready to finally move on. Was that a notification? Hold on, what's this?
So there's a little girl who we'll call Anna, and a guy we'll call Derek. And initially, everything's all happy between them and stuff like that is all good until Derek grapes and unalives Anna with a pew-pew before getting into a Nerf battle with the police until he pulls over and goes on the sewer slide later. What's good, y'all? HighTierMan here. I have been accused of a very serious crime, a cardinal sin on the internet, having a miss or bad take. The take in question being my TikTok on Ray William Johnson and why I thought his content was harmful and some of the worst on TikTok. And don't get me wrong, if I'm ever proven to have a bad take, like someone DMs me and we talk it out and I come to the conclusion that yeah, that was wrong of me to say, and I'm always open to changing my mind, then I will delete the video that I made that take on and make a video explaining why I was wrong to my audience who may have believed what I said. And I will do that every single time I have a miss or bad take that I shouldn't have had. This is not one of those times. I don't care how unpopular the take is, I will not be swayed by the public. I'm sitting 10 toes down all the way on business. I was not wrong. First of all, I'm gonna go over why I dislike Ray William Johnson and why I think his content is lazy, harmful, and trash. And after I explain that, I'm going to go over comments and arguments against me from this hell zone of a comment section. Because I was very open in the comments saying, hey, if you think I'm wrong, whatever, DM me, comment on this video, whatever, give me any real actual arguments against it. Because most of the comments were just like, oh, bro thought we were gonna agree, making fun of me and stuff like that, acting like it was a horrible or bad take. No one could explain why. Finally, I have a list of comments that are attempting to explain why. They're not doing a good job, and I'm going to thoroughly debunk what they're saying, but not until I explain my take on Ray William Johnson first, of course. So why do I dislike Ray William Johnson, and why do I think his content is trash? First and foremost, I find the use of AI to depict victims and their deaths and stuff like that, to paint out these pictures, as just super crude and inhumane, and particularly disrespectful towards the victim and of course their family. Number two, I find the overall tone of these videos to be not great. I don't like the way he takes these stories of assaults and a lot of death and stuff like that, and he's like, so this story starts with, I don't like the TikToker voice. I don't like that. It should be a very respectful video and not sensationalized for content. I've watched many of his videos. I know that during dark parts of the story, he lowers his tone. He's like, and then she was unalived or whatever. And that's another big part. I will get into that in a minute.
Forgot to mention that even the dark tone shifts are made into the content to be more exaggeratory, to get more of a response out of the viewer. Again, I use the term sensationalizing it a lot, but that is what it is doing, right? It is manipulating stuff and events in the story to purposely invoke reaction. Constantly keep things new, entertaining, stuff like that. And I think it's kind of wrong to do that to a story of a real victim.
And even just starting off a video and telling the story with so then, until, I don't like sensationalizing it and manipulating it for content. I don't like that at all. I just find it disrespectful how it's talked about in the content. The story of someone's painful or horrible death shouldn't be talked about like any normal TikTok. I don't like all the fast cuts. I don't like the timer and stuff. I don't like how it's formatted to maximize the views. I don't like true crime TikTokers to begin with, but at very least, they talk in very dark, serious tones most of the time, and they explain everything thoroughly, in depth, and they're very respectful during it. He talks about it like it's any other story, like it's regular content, is so weird and tone deaf to me. And number three is the wording he uses, which does go along with the overall tone of the video. Things like grape, unalived, or pew-pew. A mutual of mine, Julio, on TikTok talked about this, and I'm gonna talk about it much like he did because I thought he worded it fucking perfectly. When you find euphemisms to say certain words, it strips that word of its value and meaning and impact and importance. I understand the words are uncomfortable to say, and you can bleep them out or something like that, but to dance around it with euphemisms and stuff like that and strip the word of its weight, meaning, and importance is wrong to do because it feeds into a culture of numbness, taking the power away from those words as to not make the platform or people on it uncomfortable. And especially when you do that with real stories that happen to real victims and real people who are no longer with us, it's disrespectful because by changing the words around and stripping the meaning and importance and power from those words, you are taking some of that meaning, importance, and power from the story. Once again, sensationalizing it and manipulating it for content creation purposes, which should never be done with a real story with a real victim. If you don't want your video taken down, you can bleep these words and stuff like that, but it may still catch on to what you're doing, and you may still not make money off those videos. And on some level, I understand Ray William Johnson doing this so he can make sure he makes money off these videos, but it's showing that by doing that and by manipulating the words in the story and dancing around certain terms, it's showing that he is in this for the money, and he is willing to change stuff about the story to ensure he makes money off these videos. Profiting off of these tragedies is a really weird thing to do, and that's why I don't like true crime at TikTok and YouTube in general. I hate true crime in general, because these people, like, I've seen them, like, lock behind images and photos of a tragedy or whatever, behind, like, Patreon and stuff like that, trying to milk as much money out of they can out of scenarios and stories that never happened to them. Why are you trying to profit off of these tragedies? I understand telling them from awareness, but if it was purely just for awareness, you wouldn't care if you made money or not. You would want the most respectful, real telling of that story possible, and Ray William Johnson does not do that, and neither does almost any other crime TikToker or YouTuber. However, Ray William Johnson is particularly bad, because while a crime YouTuber might not have the right tone, or might not use the real words, you take it a step further when you make AI images of these dead people and paint the picture of what happened to them with AI. That is beyond messed up. Sometimes it feels like I'm the only person with common sense or morality or empathy for others, the ability to put myself in another person's shoes and see it their way. It feels like I'm the only person who can do that on social media sometimes. Say that was your sister or mother or brother or father who passed away in a tragic way. Would you like it if you saw Ray William Johnson on your For You page using AI-generated images of that family member's likeness to paint and tell out this tragic story, all while he talks in a big, cheery, happy tone with soulless eyes, while dancing around what actually happened to your family member with a whole bunch of euphemisms like pew-pew or grape or unalived? Would that not make you sick to your stomach if that was your family member and you saw this guy playing around words to profit off of it, right? And sensationalizing it and manipulating the story and stuff like that to make it more dynamic for content? Would that not be messed up to see and harmful to see? Imagine going through years of family therapy after something like this happened to your mother or sister, whatever, right? And your family's coming together, you're all trying to heal from this, and you see that on TikTok, man. Like, I cannot understand how people cannot look at that and be like, yeah, kind of messed up to use AI for someone's likeness, or to dance around what actually happened with euphemisms, you know, or to use a bright and cheery tone and only darken it during specific points, and to manipulate things and make it more dynamic for content and stuff like that. All of it is just sickening to me. And I completely understand Ray might not understand this, but not understanding the full scale and impact of what you're doing doesn't make it morally right. And when you see this and you understand what I'm saying, there should be no doubt in my mind that Ray William Johnson's content in and of itself is not good. And obviously not in terms of quality or effort, but in terms of just how damaging and disrespectful and like dystopian it is. As long as you are a person that has some kind of empathy, you should be able to say for sure, yeah, that content isn't the best. It is damaging, and it should be changed up and be less tone deaf and more respectful. It's because they didn't watch the video. Maybe they watched the whole thing through to say they did, but they weren't actually listening to anything I said. They saw Ray William Johnson hate and automatically began hating on me. Whether it be a matter of maturity or ignorance, no matter what, they don't agree with me. They think I'm wrong, and they can't explain why. The top most liked comment is steaming pile of shit take. Shut your bitch ass up, you're corny as shit. This is strike 2, lil bro. Who are you? Don't hate on one of the saints like that. Do you have any good takes? I don't know about this one, bro. Bro missed. Just a guy telling stories, bro. Honestly, when you have a good take, like, just shit like this all over my comments, thousands of them. And I responded to a lot of these with various things, explaining my point of view and saying, hey, if you can prove me wrong, I'll delete the video. So instead of making a whole bunch of TikToks going over each individual point, I figure I'll just respond to all the arguments I see right now. You are really wrong. What do you want him to do when telling crime stories animated, which means he can't post daily and people would complain about it? I think you should stop using AI. That doesn't mean hand drawing everything. That just means not using AI to tell the stories. I think he should change his tone, have a better tone while talking about this kind of stuff, and use the actual words and not dance around things or sensationalize or make these stories more dynamic and manipulate things specifically for content. I would need you to explain to me why him posting every day is more important than the respect of a person who died in a tragic way. He explains the crime. He uses AI pictures because he doesn't have real pictures, and if he does uses them, he has to say that because of TikTok or he can't say those things. You don't need to explain why he uses AI. We all know it's very obvious. And you can absolutely explain what's happening without breaking TOS or community guidelines. With a better tone, say the actual words and bleep them out in the video. Oh my god, crazy take. You can use the actual words with the real weight of the words and have the full effect and everything, but bleep it out so your videos do not get automatically taken down. Perhaps demonetized, that is a very big possibility always, but you should never put profit above being as respectful as possible about someone's demise. Or maybe it's better to talk about it than not to. Either you don't want it to be talked about, or you want it to be talked about. Everyone knows how hard TikTok's moderation is. Maybe bring awareness to these cases is better than not having awareness. I never said he has to completely stop making content. I'm just saying he needs to be more respectful with his content. You're acting like it's black or white here. Either he makes the content, he does it disrespectfully, he does this, that, and the fourth, and it's wrong and damaging, or he makes no content at all. And I would rather him make no content at all if I'm given between the two choices. Being actively harmful and disrespectful towards the cases is a lot better than doing nothing about it. However, that is not based in reality or real life. We have gray areas and in-betweens. I never said he should stop making content or that style of content. I simply said he should be more respectful during it. And I've already explained how he can do that. I'm not going to reiterate myself 1,000 times. It's not like he condones anything in the stories, and he has a team to pay that helps him make videos every day that people like, so I don't think he can afford to lose monetization. If you care that much about him censoring, then go talk to TikTok about it. First of all, Ray William Johnson is one of the first YouTubers. That man basically has infinite money. I don't think if he stopped making money off the crime videos in specific, it would be all that damaging to his funds. He could absolutely still pay his team out of pocket. He can also just downsize, not have a big team, do it more himself. Why does he need to post content every single day? Why can't it be every couple of days or a weekly thing or whatever? Obviously, you want more of his content, and cool, that's fine, but you wanting more of something is not an explanation as to something being morally right. God forbid I stay informed. Why are you putting yourself in this situation? What a weird thing to do. Oh, who cares about the respect or the damage or whatever? Oh, God forbid I stay informed. You have no part in this. This isn't the news. These are stories from 4 or 5 years ago. Once again, another comment saying, to be fair, if he would say the actual words, his videos would be taken down and the stories wouldn't be heard. Again, just say the actual words, maybe censor them out for the TikTok versions or whatever. It's not hard to just not dance around the words and stuff like that. You can still carry the same weight and stuff like that without being demonetized. They are told normally, respectfully, and the AI does not matter in the slightest. The AI is hurting no one. It's not like you replace an artist with an AI. Does not take as much energy as you guys think it does. They are not told normally and respectfully for reasons I've already listed. You just didn't listen to the video. And this idea of the AI is hurting no one. AI generating images of a dead person without consent from the family to paint out the story of what happened to them is wrong. What? I don't know. Just ignorance, actual ignorance. Just someone being Nah. He makes those stories just to spread awareness, not to make views out of people, and the reason he doesn't say the actual words is so the younger audience can watch him. Also, that his videos don't get demonetized. And he uses AI to make those photos, so what? It's so that more people are interested in his videos. Which actually did ratio my comment, got 3 times the amount of likes my comment did. And it makes no sense. Maybe a younger audience shouldn't watch videos about people being essayed or murdered. Crazy take, right?
Just woke up, don't mind the hair, but Ray William Johnson dumbing down his content to make it more advertiser friendly and more friendly towards younger audiences is bad, because these are real stories happening to real people, and dumbing those stories down is wrong to do, obviously. I don't need it. What the fuck?
And again, you can be respectful and monetizer friendly at the same time. And even if TikTok has special rules that it will put on Ray William Johnson, but not any of my content for some odd reason, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, right? Why should he be profiting and making money off other people's stories? There's the argument of, well, if he doesn't make any money, then he will stop doing it. That would also be a great outcome. And again, I'm pretty sure you can tell things respectfully while being monetizer friendly on TikTok and YouTube. Even so, if it comes between being disrespectful to somebody and making money, or being respectful to somebody who's deceased and not making any money, I would rather you be respectful and make no money. And if that means you stop making content, then that's fine, right? Then it really does become a choice of, well, either I'm disrespectful or I don't make content. And if that becomes the choice, you know which one I'm picking. He should just stop making content if he can't be respectful doing it. Ray William Johnson is not going to exactly have a big hole in the community, and stories are going to stop being told. First of all, you're talking like this man is the one committing the crimes. He's a content creator, a true crime content creator. You know how many movies and shows are based off of true stories. For example, the movie Zodiac. These people obviously made money from it, but do you think that was their only intention? No, they did it to reach out and talk about San Francisco's 1968 history. And the thing is, some of the witnesses or people who experienced were alive when the movie had came out. I'm not going to pretend to be familiar with the film Zodiac. Looks like it's a thriller, film based on true events. And it draws heavily from, non-canon stuff to make it kind of a horror movie based on the attacks from the Zodiac Killer in 1968, sorry. This is a weird point because Ray William Johnson's content isn't a movie made on what happened. It's a video breaking down and explaining the situation, and he does it very disrespectfully and uses AI and stuff like that. I don't think this movie used AI, and as to whether it told stuff, respectfully. Also, I never talked about Ray William Johnson like he committed the crimes. I don't know why you're acting like that. I never implied that once. I never even implied that Ray William Johnson was like a genuinely bad person for his content. He's using those words, grape or unalived, isn't because he's stripping it of its value. It's keeping the... I'm going to stop you right there. It doesn't matter what his intention is. Using those words does strip them of its value and meaning, and strips the story of some of its value, meaning, and power as well. Just doesn't matter what his intention is. He's doing it, right? And it is harmful. It does do that no matter what. It's keeping the story without painting a horrible picture. And now you want to bring up how, what if the victims saw these posts about their story? But imagine if they saw it with the things that actually happened to them. Imagine them hearing all the brutal words and bringing them back to what experience, because you didn't want that word to lose its value. No, that's not how it works. Censoring words isn't taking away its value. It's keeping your community intact mentally. It is common decency. I'm not going to speak for any victims here, because I don't think many victims in Ray William Johnson's stories are alive. However, something tells me I don't think they'd much appreciate having their story told with AI-generated images that dance around what actually happened to them. Again, not trying to speak up for them, but I'm saying if I was in their shoes, I would be pretty peeved off. And if they wouldn't want to hear what actually happened to them, then maybe just don't post it. If the person doesn't want to hear what happened to them, then it would probably affect them whether it's danced around with different words or whether it's told how it actually happened realistically. It would mean they are not fully healed from it, and it would make them uncomfortable either way. And so at that point, if they're not okay with it, then you wouldn't make the video at all, because clearly they don't want it to be made. And the thing about, no, that's not how it works, censoring words and taking away its value, it just does. When you, like, okay, saying the actual word, and I'm not going to say it in this YouTube video because I have no reason to. If I had a reason to, or I was telling a story, I would say it. But saying grape doesn't have the same feeling as saying the actual word. Same with unalived or pew-pewed or sewer slide or anything like that. It doesn't carry the actual weight and value of the word. Like, you can't just say it does and it happened. You're just incorrect. Because if they carried the same weight and impact as the original words, then why wouldn't he just use the original words?
HighTwoMan here again. Forgot to mention that if those words did have the same value, impact, and meaning as the real words, then those words would be just as bannable as an offense to say as the regular words would be also.
You don't see the true stories, movies showing you the gruesome, brutal, horrific things that happen to the victim because they're trying to make money or strip its value. It's because they are don't want their viewers watching grape, gore, etc. So, I never said he had to show the grape or gore, etc. I never said that. Now, Ray William Johnson somewhat does paint those things out with AI, obviously not showing any actual parts, but, you know, he creates AI-generated images of the scenario before or after that thing happened. I think I've pretty much gone through all the arguments in my comment section. This video is going to be long enough as it is, and I don't really want to fucking edit it, but I'm gonna have to. This will be the first video you see of me using this mic. I have other videos pre-recorded of me using it, so I do want to apologize because there's going to be some inconsistencies, obviously, with me using the mic and me in the next video explaining why I'm using a mic now. I'm going to be in a shed in my next 2 videos. It's going to be pretty weird, but hopefully you'll stick around for it. I'm HighTierMan. Subscribe to make you less broke. Peace out.